Madam Speaker, Didiza of the National Assembly.
Order, honorable members. Umphathishlalo usekela jaji wenkantolo enkulu yesizwe yomthethosisekelo. Amajaji wonke amele indlu yesishayamthetho kumbe umthethosisekelo welizwe. Amajaji abekulezi zihlalo zalendlu asethathe umhlala phansi, omongameli bezinkantolo zezifundazwe, o judge president abakhona bawo wonke ama divisions ezwe lakithi, kanye nomongameli bezindlu zomthetho ophezulu, i-Supreme Court abakhona la, kanye nawo wonke amajaji akhona, kanye nabo bonke abomthetho ngokwezigaba zokwahlukana abakhona kulendlu. Ngiphinde ngibingelele kumongameli wethu wangaphambili ubaba uMbeki noma Mbeki. Ngibingelele uBishop Makhoba kanye nodadewethu uMathaphelo. Ngibingelele izicukuthwane ezimenyiwe la ngesizulu bathi isinamva liyabukwa. Ngibingelele kuMthiyane Sokhulu, Luvuno, Sokotshane, Ngoboka, Mnguni, Kamanekwane. Ngibingelele kuwe nkosikazi yasekhaya nabantwana nonke nowile abakhona la. Ngibingelele kumndeni kumbe abamele umndeni wakamxenge abakhona. Ngibingelele umzwa waseNingizimu Afrika obukayo namhlanje kulesi sigaba esikuso lapho sithi siyabonga Mthiyane. I'm not saying you are retiring. This is a relay. You are passing the baton to our sister, Justice Maya. At 64, that's when you are at your prime age. That's when your mind and your wisdom is required. As it has been seen by your learned friends who are here among us, who are sitting on your table, about Justice Msenege and about Justice Mkhweng Nabanye. It shows that there's still a lot that you'll contribute. It's just that maybe the pace is not going to be as it has been. But I mustn't say that, because others that I know in their retirement, they've actually worked harder than they were in office. It is an honor indeed and privilege for me on behalf of Parliament of the Republic of South Africa on this occasion, which marks indeed, as it is called, your retirement, though I said it's a relay. Mthiyane. It also serves as a tribute, as we've heard from your colleagues, outlining the role that you have played, which all of us can say we are amongst one of South Africa's most distinguished jurists. You have followed in the footsteps of those who have departed and those who are present, who continue to make us proud as a country and feel that indeed we stand in the shoulders of the giants. Yesterday, when you responded at the dinner, you appreciated the song that was sung on your behalf, That You Raised Me Up. And when I reflected on your response, I indeed agree, because I know that you stand indeed in the shoulders of many, some of whom who are departed. And at this moment, I want to take you back to the journey in KZN. For you to remember those workers you represented while you were at the Legal Resources Center in a communal center, commonly known as Diaconia in Durban. Many of those had no resources to represent themselves. Many of those relied on you and others to make their case. Many of them trusted you that you will indeed ensure that justice is served. I want to remind you of your time at Victoria Mxenge's, as well as Mthembu attorneys. At that tablet time when you served, when many were jailed for taking a stand against apartheid, you did not flinch, you did not fear. You did not look at how much it would cost for the clients to pay, but you wanted to ensure that justice is served. Many in KwaZulu-Natal and in South Africa today, your peers and the village Mamumazondi in the South Coast are smiling and saying, "You've made us proud." Umthiyane bathi awulilulazanga igama labo. The village gogos who saw you growing up, they are saying, until the end, you stood for the truth. Akukho esikusolayo. Kodwa ke isiZulu sithi akukho soka lingenasici. That yes, sometimes there may be in your journey certain things that you may not know how it might have affected others. I'm reminded of the marijuana judgment. Many of us wondered what has happened to Justice Zondo. Really? As a Minister of Agriculture at the time, I wondered how many trees should one count to say these marijuana trees is what can be called it will be for private use. But here you were. And I said, okay, this judgment, though I'm not quite agreeing with Justice Zondo, but it actually opens up an opportunity for us as a country to reflect on how we can use this gold and green gold for commercial purposes. So while the Justice Committee in Parliament was still counting what the trees would be, we decided as the Ministry of Agriculture to make a presentation that to actually make it easier, while we are grappling with this matter of counting the trees, why don't we just create an opportunity through the legislation which the Justice said we must provide to also allow for commercialization of hemp and cannabis. I'm not promoting cannabis, but there is industrial and medicinal use with which this tree can be utilized productively. And indeed, Chief Justice, today we have many farmers, particularly in those areas of Eastern Cape and Emangwaneni in KwaZulu-Natal, now planting hemp for commercial use. Again, enabled by the judgment that not all of us quite appreciated at the time. Iso akosoga lingenasi. But I want to say one of the things, Chief Justice, that made us reflect on the role of the Chief Justice in any society was the words that President Ramaphosa said when he announced your appointment. I wish to quote the words he used. He said, "The position of Chief Justice carries a great responsibility in our democracy. As the head of the judiciary, the Chief Justice is a guardian of our Constitution and the laws adopted by the freely elected representative of the people. The Chief Justice stands as the champion of the rights of all South Africans and bears responsibility for ensuring equal access to justice. I have every confidence that Justice Zondo will acquit himself with distinction in this position." We stand here, close quote, we stand here today to say, indeed, you have done so. Your peers and your colleagues in their presentations, they alluded to how you have executed your responsibility in accordance with what President framed as the role of Chief Justice in our country. I want to say, as Parliament, we are honored of having worked with you during your service as Chief Justice. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Justice Zondo has made significant strides to vigorously protect the independence of the judiciary and promote the interconnectedness and functionality of the three arms of state. The Constitution prescribes important roles for the Chief Justice during a transition from one parliament to the other. It is the Chief Justice that sets the date of the first sitting of the House of Parliament. I must say that on this one, I nearly called and said, "Chief Justice, that's too soon." But you are exercising your responsibility. But also it is the Chief Justice that presides over the swearing in of members as well as the election of office bearers of Parliament and the President. During this 7th administration, I'm sure a majority of citizens might have wondered why you decided meticulously at every point to ask the members whether they understood the oath of office they were taking. It might have seemed trivial to others, but coming from the history of state capture in our country, I think it was important. Because in a sense, you wanted to show that this is an important institution to which you must execute your responsibility with full understanding of what you have committed yourself to. We wish to thank you, Chief Justice, for what you have done. But I also want to say the relationship between Parliament and yourself as Chief Justice, particularly following the responsibility you had on state capture, one can say has been complex and occasionally tense, largely because you were concerned with the pace of implementation of the recommendations that were made coming out of the Commission. Justice Zondo, you are very vocal about what you regarded as Parliament's failures in the exercise of its oversight responsibility, particularly regarding executive action. I want to assure you, and also the justices present here, that one of the priority areas of the 7th Parliament will be the implementation of the State Captures Commission recommendations, coupled with the strengthening and frequent interactions between the Parliament and the institutions supporting democracy. As we speak today, a couple of measures have been put in place to strengthen oversight and accountability. Our parliamentary committees are being capacitated and supported to do their work, particularly in holding the executive accountable and ensuring that the implementation of the recommendations will actually be done fully. We are committed to ensuring that through our rules, we will tighten accountability of the executive and put a spotlight on the quality and comprehensiveness of the responses that we get from the executive. But I want to say, Chief Justice, we will also continue to engage your colleagues, particularly where there might be areas that are not so clear as to how we have to undertake them, given that our democracy is still young and it's evolving. So from part of Parliament, I want to say to you, thank you for being a faithful servant. Continue to be exemplary, even in the break that you are going to be taking. You mustn't say, because now I'm retired, I'm a free man, sending us lunch. I think wherever you'll be, in the malls, in the streets, people will still remember you as Justice Zondo. And also thank my sister Stembele and the family. It has not been easy, I'm sure. Not only the 27 years, but before that, looking and having to share your husband, your father, your uncle, your brother with all of us. You've remained in the shadows, but you never took that negatively. You gave the support, and I'm sure at times when we did not know even the pain we might have caused to your loved one. But you did not say, "Hayi, ambohlala ekhaya," or change the profession, but you stayed the cause until the end. Siyabonga, Nindaba kaMthiyane. Before I conclude, allow me to thank Justice Zondo and say it is befitting that we do so during this month of August, particularly for the work you have done in supporting women judges and creating an enabling environment that they can actually be part of this profession. So I'd like to say thank you to you. And how wonderful that you passed the baton to my sister, Justice Maya. We want to welcome you and say congratulations. It's a tough, but you are up to the task. And I'm sure you have got sisters and brothers who will be there to walk the journey with you. I thank you.